Right, here we are. Europe's unraveling, Britain's tearing itself apart over money it doesn't have, and the institutions we once trusted are collapsing under the weight of their own lies. This isn't just news. This is the anatomy of a system in freefall, and I'm going to walk you through every bloody piece of it. I spent years working inside one of the biggest, most recognizable media organizations you can think of. I watched them bend stories, bury facts, twist narratives to suit whoever was pulling the strings that week, and one day I'd had enough. I walked. Now I work for no one but you. I answer to no one but the truth, and I tell you what actually matters, not what they want you to hear. And if this matters to you, if you want more of this, then do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and if you really want to support independent voices like mine, consider becoming a channel sponsor. It keeps me free, it keeps me honest, and it keeps this going. Let's start in London because Britain is on the edge of financial disaster, and the people in charge are pretending everything's fine. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, stood in front of the country not long ago and swore she wouldn't touch taxes on working people, swore it. And now she's scrambling because Britain's national debt has exploded to 95% of GDP. The deficit for just the first half of the fiscal year, nearly £100 billion September alone, saw the biggest monthly shortfall in 5 years. The government is bleeding money, and they've got no plan to stop it. Behind closed doors, they're floating ideas. A tax on millionaires who leave the country. Tougher inheritance taxes on farmers. And these aren't just bad ideas, they're catastrophic. You start squeezing the wealthy, they leave. You hammer farmers with inheritance levies, family farms collapse, land gets sold off to corporations, and Britain's food security goes with it. Meanwhile, the stock market's sliding, Westminster's turning into a circus, and farmers are literally driving tractors to Parliament in protest. This isn't governance, this is panic dressed up as policy. Experts are saying it clearly. You can't promise not to tax workers, plug a budget black hole, and keep public services afloat all at once. Something has to give, and it's going to hurt. Now stay with me, because this gets worse. We move to Remembrance Sunday, one of the most sacred days in the British calendar. The whole country stops to honor the fallen. And in Llandudno, at a memorial ceremony, a man appears, full Admiral's uniform, chest covered in medals. The works. People see him. They assume he's legitimate. They respect the uniform. Except he's not an admiral. He's not military at all. His name is Jonathan Carley. He's 64. He's a sacked teacher. And he has absolutely zero connection to the Royal Navy. He's been arrested for impersonating a military officer, and now he's facing prosecution. The backlash has been instant. People are furious. This is Remembrance Sunday. This is about honoring sacrifice. And some bloke decides to dress up and play soldier at a national memorial. The media are calling it an insult to the memory of the dead. Hundreds of Brits are demanding tighter security at these events, and historians are drawing parallels to similar scandals decades ago. How did no one stop him? How did he get that close? If you're still watching, you care about this stuff, so smash that like button and subscribe. This is the kind of thing the mainstream won't dig into properly, but we will. Now let's talk about the BBC, because the corporation that once defined journalistic credibility is now accused of losing the plot entirely. The BBC is being hammered for allegedly pushing radical transgender narratives and silencing dissenting voices, even in their own newsrooms. Critics say they've deliberately downplayed concerns about gender transitions in children, ignored the consequences of hormone treatments, and censored anyone who dares question the orthodoxy. This isn't fringe stuff anymore. Senior leadership at the BBC has resigned amid leaks suggesting editorial manipulation, and the public trust is cratering. The organisation that used to be synonymous with impartiality is now seen by many as a mouthpiece for whatever's trendy. Even if it means ignoring the welfare of kids, experts are saying the BBC's reputation is damaged, possibly beyond repair, because they chose ideology over journalism. And that matters, because when your national broadcaster can't be trusted, where do people turn? Let's move to Sweden, because tragedy doesn't wait for politics. Stockholm. Friday evening, rush hour. A double-decker bus, empty of passengers, crashes into a crowded bus stop. 4 people lose their lives instantly, more than a dozen injured. Police are treating it as involuntary taking of lives. The driver's been detained. Early reports say the bus was mechanically sound, but the investigation's ongoing. For Europe, this is another reminder of just how fragile urban safety is. Cities run on infrastructure that's aging, underfunded, overused. And when something goes wrong, it's ordinary people waiting at a bus stop who pay the price. This story will fade from the headlines in days, but the questions it raises about transport safety, about investment, about political priorities, those should linger. Now this next one is going to divide people. A British couple decided they wanted to live off-grid, away from the system. Freedom. So they moved to the forests of Italy with their children, and now Italian authorities are threatening to take those children away. The argument? That this lifestyle deprives the kids of proper development, education, security. Italian law says parents share responsibility, but if there's a dispute or perceived harm, child protection services step in. Courts can strip parental rights if they believe the children are suffering. The debates exploded beyond Italy. On one side, people saying the state has no business telling families how to live. On the other, people saying children have rights too, and those rights include education and safety. It's a brutal question. Where's the line? How much can the state intervene in the name of protecting children? And who decides what harm actually looks like? Here's something you need to pay attention to. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think, because this stuff matters and I want to hear from you. Across the Atlantic, the battle lines are forming in New York. Wall Street billionaires are pouring millions into a campaign to stop one man, Zoran Mamdani, a progressive candidate running for mayor. Mamdani's platform: higher taxes on the wealthy, more social spending, redistribution. And the financial elite are terrified. Bill Ackman, hedge fund titan, has personally donated $1 million to defeat him. These are people who've dined at the White House, who've shaped policy for decades, and now they're openly funding a war against a candidate they see as an existential threat. Mamdani's critics say he'll drive capital out of the city, bankrupt New York, turn it into the economic wasteland it was in the 1970s. Back then, the federal government refused to bail out the city, and the New York Daily News ran a headline that became infamous: Ford to City, drop dead. The question now is whether history is about to repeat itself. Will Mamdani's vision win, or will Wall Street reassert control the way it always has? So let's recap what we've covered here. Britain's careening toward fiscal collapse, with a chancellor caught between promises she can't keep and a budget she can't fix. A fake admiral made a mockery of Remembrance Sunday and exposed gaping holes in national ceremony security. The BBC, once a pillar of trust, is accused of abandoning impartiality for ideology and betraying children in the process. Stockholm lost 4 lives in a bus crash that's reignited debates about crumbling infrastructure. A British family living off-grid in Italy faces losing their children to state intervention, forcing us to ask where freedom ends and protection begins. And in New York, billionaires are bankrolling a campaign to crush a progressive mayoral candidate who dares to threaten their wealth. Every one of these stories is a crack in the system. Together, they're a fracture. This is what I do. I bring you the stories that matter, the ones that connect, the ones that show you the bigger picture. If you value that, if you want this to continue, then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you can, become a sponsor. It's what keeps this independent, keeps it honest, and keeps me able to do this without answering to anyone. Thanks for watching. There's more coming, and it's only going to get more intense.